Creating impactful and lasting change is a mission, a vision, and a movement. Welcome to Nonprofit Voices of Impact, the show that will delve into the heart of the nonprofit world, showcasing the leaders and change makers who are driving meaningful transformation in our community. Through engaging interviews, real-life success stories, and valuable insights, this podcast highlights the passion, innovation, and dedication that fuels nonprofits across Westchester County. Whether you're a nonprofit leader or advocate, Nonprofit Voices of Impact empowers you with the knowledge and inspiration to make a powerful difference. I'm your host, Dr. Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester, and I'm joined by my co-host, Linda Tyler, Vice President of Membership and Programs, Business Council of Westchester. Nonprofit Voices of Impact is sponsored by New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank. Thank you for your support of the BCW Podcast Network. We're thrilled about today's episode featuring two inspiring leaders who are shaping the Westchester community. Ron Abad, Chief Executive Officer of Community Housing Innovations, Inc., and Mark Stagg, founder and principal of the Stagg Group, a steadfast supporter of nonprofit initiatives throughout the region. Together, we'll explore their shared commitment to affordable housing, community development, and impactful partnerships.
Ron and Mark, welcome to the Nonprofit Voices of Impact. We're so excited to have you both here with us today. Before we dive into the conversation, let's start with some background. Ron, you lead a mission-driven organization. Can you tell us more about Community Housing Innovations, what you do, how it benefits the community, and how many people are on your team and the geographic areas that you serve?
Absolutely. Thank you, Marsha and Linda and the entire BCW team for inviting me and Mark to have this conversation on not-for-profit impact and affordable housing in our community. Ron Abad, CEO, Community Housing Innovations. We are a community because we are actually in New York City, Westchester, Long Island, and Hudson Valley. Our expands to the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, Newburgh, Poughkeepsie, White Plains, Mount Vernon, Riverhead, Comac, pretty broad scope. Orange County, Dutchess, Westchester, Nassau, and Suffolk, and New York City. $125 million operating budget. This is why we're the housing. The housing portion is we are 800 employees.
You're a significant not-for-profit. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Broad scope throughout.
Yes.
And we do everything from affordable housing to supportive housing to homeless shelters, first-time home buyer, property management. We are both a provider, developer, and owner of land. So we are a landlord as well, so we own different hats. But primarily our mission really is to support families and individuals in their housing journey. And our vision really is to uplift families and individuals and help them move out of poverty through the prism of housing.
That's wonderful. And Ron, I've heard you speak so passionately about housing and especially about first-time home buyers, and that housing, owning a home is also important. So you really provide housing opportunities, if I'm correct, for everyone kind of along the housing journey, right?
Exactly. I love to say that everyone is on a housing journey. I've never met anyone who didn't need a house or a home to live in. It's a pretty common thing. I think there's dignity and living in a home, right? And there's some struggle when folks do not have a home, and it causes instability for families. This is personal because I grew up in an unstable housing situation in the Bronx for my family, and I was very fortunate to get a great education, work very hard, have the grace in my faith, and move forward. I've been in the housing journey for 30 years, believe it or not. I celebrated this past year.
And we are so grateful that your housing journey has led you right here to Westchester County and the Business Council of Westchester, of course. And Mark, you've had an amazing career also. Can you tell us a little bit about the Stagg Group and your commitment to affordable housing? How does your work benefit the real estate landscape and foster win-win partnerships across?
Sure. I'd like to say
community.
thank you to the Westchester Business Council for having us here today. Stagg Group is we're a real estate developer by trade. We're also in the construction business. I think that sets us apart from other developers where we're able to control the timeline, we're able to control the scope, and we also manage properties, which are very important to us. And, a lot of people call these apartments, they call them units. How many units do you own? How many units do you manage? But these aren't really units or apartments. These are homes.
That's right.
And when a family, walks into a brand new, facility, and to see their eyes, light up, I've happened to focus in the affordable housing sector. We've primarily in the Bronx. We've recently moved to Westchester.
Welcome.
Thank you. We've done a few projects in Yonkers. We just finished a 186-unit moderate income project in New Rochelle, a 24-story tower right along the 95 corridor. We just started renting it, I think, 5 months ago, and we are out of the 186 units. I think there's 178 families living there, so we're almost filled up.
That is incredible. We recently had a discussion with the mayor of New Rochelle, and she refers to kitchen tables.
That's right.
That it's not apartments, it's kitchen tables and families coming together, and
Exactly.
many of us grew up in apartments, including me in a very good way, and so it's wonderful that you're doing all this great work for the community. And on this show, Nonprofit Voices of Impact, we love to talk about collaborations between the private sector and the nonprofit sector, because that really, really provides impact.
How did the two of you meet and begin collaborating? And talk to us a little bit about some of the projects you've worked on together.
Well, Mark and I think we've known each other since 2015. It's about 10 years this year, and we met just in conversation and partnerships in similar circles, and we worked on a common project together in 2015 in the Bronx.
And Ron, let's talk about that. That was the
absolutely.
first. It was not transitional.
That's right.
It was what we call a master lease, where we were able to take people from the shelter and give them a permanent home. Mm-hmm. So it was a little different than just placing them in a unit. It was giving them permanent housing, and the idea was brought to me, and how it starts from the inception is we built a building, a market rate building, and there's this demand, and they said, hey, Mark, what do you think? And that's where it starts. That's how the relevance between the private and the non-for-profit. We're able to just do things as of right, and the nonprofit has this demand, the community has this demand, and that's what makes a good partnership.
That's right. We actually met, and it's shelter's not a home, right? Shelter's temporary, right? So the goal is to form a partnership, use our respective skills and relationships, and really build homes, kitchen tables, right? For many families, and that's what we did in 2015. And since then, we have a few projects that we've built, and we'll give an update on those.
I'm sorry. I just want to say your home is your anchor,
Your home
right?
is
When you think
your
about it,
foundation,
it
yes.
really, truly is.
Absolutely. It's your foundation, I always say. Yes, absolutely.
This is an extremely powerful conversation, Ron and Mark, and we're looking forward to diving even deeper. You're listening now to the BCW Podcast Network. I'm Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester, and joining me as my co-host is Linda Tyler, Vice President of Membership and Programs, and this is Nonprofit Voices of Impact, and we'll be right back after this short break from our sponsors, New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank. Take your organization far with the power of local banking. PCSB Bank's array of services, customized solutions, and local financing decisions mean you have a powerful commercial bank nearby when you need them. Voted best in business banking for 2 years in a row by 914 Inc., PCSB Bank's commitment to serving consumers, businesses, and nonprofits in the community is unparalleled. Stop by one of their 14 branches located throughout Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland counties, or call 888-808-4700 to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. New York Presbyterian has 3 campus locations in Westchester. New York Presbyterian Westchester in Bronxville, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital in Cortlandt Manor, and New York Presbyterian Westchester Behavioral Health in White Plains, and a new state-of-the-art facility opening in 2025 at 1111 Westchester Avenue in White Plains. Known as New York Presbyterian The One, this center of excellence will improve access to medical care by offering a wide range of adult and pediatric specialty care, all under one roof, delivered by exceptional teams led by trusted Columbia doctors. NYP The One will include centers of excellence in cardiovascular and neurosensory treatment, men's health, women's health, pediatric health, and a cancer center satellite.
We are back on the BCW Podcast Network. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Ron Abad, Chief Executive Officer of Community Housing Innovations, and Mark Stagg, founder and principal of the Stagg Group, discussing affordable housing and community development.
So let's talk about affordable housing. Sometimes there's a negative perception out there to affordable housing. I've also heard it referred to workforce housing. What's the difference, and why is workforce housing so essential to our communities here in Westchester County? And what other issues do you both deal with these families who are coming around their kitchen tables?
Absolutely.
As in their homes?
So I'll clarify big picture. Affordable housing is for all. It's relative based on your income. You can have an income of $200,000, and there are certain houses that you cannot afford in our community, right? So it is often labeled as housing that is typically aimed towards individuals or families earning below a certain income threshold, which is based on what they call the area median income, and usually set by the government based on the location, in order to ensure that the housing costs do not exceed 30% of their income. So many families and individuals are cost burdened, where they're spending 50-60% of everything they earn on housing. Affordable is to make sure that particularly lower income, 60% of AMI, et cetera, typically can afford the housing they're in. Workforce housing is sort of that population right above. They can't afford market rate or luxury housing, but they're not eligible for affordable housing and the subsidies that come from it through the government because of their income. Workforce housing is the core of our community, every community,
right?
Every teachers,
Yes.
all our employees, firefighters, and I'm sure Mark can share. It's the core of our community, but that is the population that is being squeezed out and displaced because they cannot afford market rate or luxury housing, and they're definitely not eligible for affordable. However, there is a need for affordable housing. Nationwide crisis we are in, particularly in many of our counties that are higher cost counties because of the need for housing, and it's all related to jobs and et cetera. So we advocate for affordable housing because if that population has more housing, they stay and they don't trickle down to homelessness or anything.
That's a good point.
Yep.
People have basically been priced out of housing.
That's right.
And the demand, when we talk about area and median housing, it's different in every county. In Westchester County, people will be surprised the household income levels that have difficulty finding. The housing stock is questionable to find good housing with the right heating, with the right efficiencies. This particular project that we're just finishing renting now, the average household income is between $68,000 for a studio all the way up to $120,000. The demand on 186 apartments, which is done through a lottery base, we had 3,500 people.
3,500 people.
3,500 people qualified that wanted this type of housing. And again, when we open these doors and we see the people get the opportunity, and these are our service people. Mm-hmm. These are the hospital workers. These are the nurses' aides. These are the people that work in the kitchen. These are, the teacher aides, and not necessarily the teachers. They might, not qualify for that. But all that support staff, that's kind of forgotten about. Think about all the people in the kitchen in a large employer. That's a lot of people to serve the thousands of people.
Yeah. And they're critical to the workforce.
Critical to the workforce.
And to keeping the, county and all of our different, companies flowing and working, and they're the talent pipeline.
And the need, to answer your question, Marsha, and the need is that it's a struggle. Do I pay my rent, versus childcare, versus education, versus food, right? And if your cost burden where 50, 60 cents of every dollar is towards housing, you're limited in the other opportunities.
So I think there's an interesting fact that the audience would appreciate. So if a market rate apartment in the tower in New Rochelle is approximately going for about $3,200 a month, a 60% AMI market rate apartment will go for approximately $1,600 a month. So you see the significant savings.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
And again, and in Westchester, and I just don't understand the perception problem. What's the problem? I don't see a problem. These are the people, these are our neighbors anyway. Let's give them an option. Let's give them a good bang for the buck. Let's not put them in basements and forgotten apartments. Let's bring them up. Let's give them energy efficient, new appliances, brand new bathrooms. They deserve the same in our mind, and in the planners and the advocates of affordable housing. We're all deserving, right. Regardless of your income level. So that's real important at the core.
And that's what we advocate. It's decent, affordable housing for all people. It's not the perception oftentimes is based on misunderstanding or lack of education or a lack of direct view of these families and individuals of all backgrounds. And in the affordable housing market, it's also supportive housing, which is veterans and seniors and disabled folks, right? And people needing extra services. These are our families. These are our cousins, our uncles, our grandfathers, our children. So there's this perception based on misunderstanding. And our responsibility, I believe, as partners, not-for-profit, government, bank, real estate, is to really educate the community. Because the fruit of it is as powerful. It's great stuff out there.
And the Business Council of Westchester has been with you.
Absolutely.
All along the way as having housing as one of our very top priorities.
Absolutely.
Through the work that we do and with our Smart Development Group. And so we thank you for your work and your commitment.
And that leads to our next question. But first, let's take a break to listen to our sponsors, New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank. You're listening to the BCW Podcast Network. This is Nonprofit Voices of Impact, and we will be right back.
New York Presbyterian has 3 campus locations in Westchester. New York Presbyterian Westchester in Bronxville, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital in Cortlandt Manor, and New York Presbyterian Westchester Behavioral Health in White Plains, and a new state-of-the-art facility opening in 2025 at 1111 Westchester Avenue in White Plains. Known as New York Presbyterian The One, this center of excellence will improve access to medical care by offering a wide range of adult and pediatric specialty care, all under one roof, delivered by exceptional teams led by trusted Columbia doctors. NYP The One will include centers of excellence in cardiovascular and neurosensory treatment, men's health, women's health, pediatric health, and a cancer center satellite. Take your organization far with the power of local banking. PCSB Bank's array of services, customized solutions, and local financing decisions mean you have a powerful commercial bank nearby when you need them. Voted best in business banking for 2 years in a row by 914 Inc., PCSB Bank's commitment to serving consumers, businesses, and nonprofits in the community is unparalleled. Stop by one of their 14 branches located throughout Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland counties, or call 888-808-4700 to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Welcome back to the BCW Podcast Network. This is Nonprofit Voices of Impact. Ron, Mark, Linda, and I have been having thoughtful conversation all about the intersection of housing, workforce needs, and community well-being.
Ron, what are some of the biggest challenges you face when trying to implement new initiatives, and what advice do you have for overcoming those obstacles?
Well, number one, it's there's not enough supply to meet the demand. That's what it comes down to. It's more families and individuals are in need of housing in all sectors, and the supply, the speed that it takes to build, develop housing is not at the same rate. Clearly, there are the significant challenges in all real estate, but particularly in the affordable housing sphere as far as land, zoning barriers, regulations, lack of financing and capital, lack of opportunities for developers and not-for-profit developers. These are challenges that we need to turn to become opportunities. But I'm encouraged because I know there's a win-win-win partnership by all sectors of the community, development, not-for-profit, government, business, real estate, interested in housing. Yesterday, we had a faith walk in White Plains that we sponsored. We, CHI, are co-developing in a joint venture project of 56 units of affordable housing for seniors in White Plains.
Wonderful.
With Mount Hope Church. And yesterday, Westchester County Executive Ken Jenkins was there. Mayor Tom Roach was there. White Plains was there. Westchester County legislators were there. We had banking representatives, we had real estate partners, we had people from the community. It was a joint example that when people come together, all sectors of society come together. But we were on a faith walk on that it took almost 10 years for this project to come to fruition, just for 56 units.
Yeah.
And these units will fill up within a month by the time we open, within a year and a half.
And we
or two.
want our seniors to stay in the community,
Absolutely.
especially. They have family here, they have support here. There's, Westchester is so amazing with the support that they give for seniors. And a lot of the seniors here grew up here.
That's right. That's right. And
So,
serve the community, and they've given to the community.
We owe it back.
Absolutely
We owe it back. And Ron, what I so much admire about CHI, and I know about your personal commitment, is housing alone is the anchor, as Linda said,
anchor, yep.
the huge issue. But there are many other issues that some of your clients have,
Absolutely.
and I know you provide some services at CHI and partner with others, and you're very aware of the total picture.
That's right. It's
And
about
the
the
total
total.
human.
We say housing is healthcare. Housing is children. Housing is community health, right? Housing is just the core anchor foundation of a family there. And usually if there's a breakdown in housing, there are breakdowns in other areas of that family.
It makes sense. It all
makes
goes
sense.
hand in hand.
That's right.
Before we wrap up, are there any new and exciting initiatives coming at your organizations that you want to share with our listeners today? Who would
Sure.
like
Mark,
to
do you
start?
want to take that first?
Yeah.
I'll end it.
Sure. He talked about, how it works, and it really starts with the legislation and our elected officials, and how important what we call volume cap. Because if there's more volume, we're able to build more housing. So it's important that it starts from the top and that trickles down. We've got some very exciting things happening in the affordable housing sector. We've got a 140-unit building in downtown Peekskill, which was the old White Plains Linen Factory.
We know what we remember that.
yeah.
Yes.
The old White Plains Linen Factory. It's been an eyesore. It's been abandoned for about 8 to 10 years. We have a proposal that next month we're going to be in front of the board in Peekskill, and we're going to have a senior component in there as well. 20% senior units. There's going to be about 30 units for seniors, and we're going to have nice amenities for them as well. Reading rooms and different things in the community that will help support them.
So, Mark, if you had to give advice to younger entrepreneurs who are going into real estate, what's the biggest lesson that you'd pass on to them? And then I want Ron to just finish up by sharing what's in the future also.
It can't, your core values can't just be because you want to make money.
That's right.
Because that's really short-sighted, in my opinion. And of course, you have to make a living. And if I look back, way back when, I thought I could make a good living in it. But it's evolved, so much for me in my career. And you have to love it.
That's right.
You have to eat, breathe, and sleep it. And I am so fortunate that I've been put in this position to create homes for people. And it gets me out of bed, early every day, because it's so impactful. Everything is, if you back to the Bible, shelter. People can't survive without shelter. We can do with a lot of out things. We could do out with our cell phones every day, right? But on a cold winter night, to be in the street, we can't survive. So
Thank you.
I would say do what you love, and work really hard.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you from the bottom of our heart. And Ron, it's you.
I grew up poor in the Bronx. Was the first homeowner in my family, first one to go to college, first one to develop. So I'm very fortunate here to be the CEO of my organization and to spend my career, my life. This is my passion. I don't even think of this as work. This is my passion. I'm committed to it. It still makes me very emotional at times because it's about families and individuals, and we struggled. But I'm encouraged because I do want to add the value of affordable home ownership, Marsha. Incredible need, because home ownership is the bridge to generational wealth.
I love that.
It is the anchor to upward mobility. Mm-hmm. It is not just about buildings, but also investing in that first-time home buyer. I was a first-time home buyer exactly 20 years ago in Peekskill as a single father of two young girls. Came from the Bronx, and I was a single father and bought my first house. But I needed help. It took me years to save 3%.
Yeah.
And now 20-something years later, I'm CEO, and we are pushing for that. So we need more affordable home ownership initiatives that really support families who are in that pipeline that need a little extra help. And that's going to change communities. That's going to change many families. So I'm encouraged by that and the many affordable housing partnerships we have. I appreciate the partnership I have with Mark. We go back 10 years. We actually have two very exciting we've completed 2 projects, and have a third one we're working on. And one a month ago was featured in New York City on the news with the mayor. And that was an example of a home for 64 families, many of them women-led families, in a community that was in need of housing. But I'm encouraged because the partnerships we have between BCW, the real estate community, the development community, government, Westchester County is awesome when it comes to being pro-affordable housing. It's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for the families, a win for our communities here, our diverse communities in New Rochelle, White Plains, Mount Vernon, all the great development the mayors are working on. So I'm encouraged, even though there may be uncertain times, at times there's a commitment by so many sectors of our society for the need for affordable housing.
Well, thank you for your inspiration, and thank you both for all you do.
And we'd also like to thank our sponsors, New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank, and to our listeners.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more, go to thebcw.org.